we just talked about boys. We're going to quickly touch on the sails because this is a fin-only event, and obviously we've got the big board, the 140. You've got to line it up with a big sail. Is that your big sail? You got a bigger one?
This is my biggest sail.
So
and
only 8.4.
Only 8.4. I'm not gonna lie.
It's not small, but it's.
I'm not gonna lie. It's I'm a little bit nervous sometimes.
Yeah, okay.
Because when it's 11 to 13, 14 knots in the gust, I can plane, but. You know, when you're covered by guys with bigger sails.
Well, I've seen 9s and 9s.
Yeah, I think Johan found the 9.2. I know that Bruno has a 9.0. Yeah. So there's guys with bigger sails, you know. So I think Tati with 0.7 has an 8.8. Ingmar has an 8.7. So there's some bigger sails. Okay. I mean, if I just have enough wind for this, I'm fine. The sail is very fast. But yeah, it's not. Let's say a couple of years ago, I would definitely had a 9.0.
Yeah. Okay. And anything to kind of look out for? I'm thinking guys at home, bigger sails, what downhaul we're talking, because I do see a lot of people with not enough downhaul on their sails.
100%. 100%. I mean, with duathlon, we have this max wind dot in the sail. This is always a reference point. Doesn't mean it's perfect for you, but you're like,
you've got a
90% you're right, you know? Okay. And even with that dot in the sail, I see a lot of people not putting enough downhaul.
So for people who don't understand, there's a mark on the sail and you can see where the tighter cloth is on the right-hand side of it. And
the looser part on the left.
Side. And then as soon as that looser part, that's your mark.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Let me just, obviously it looks obvious from certain angles, but not from others. But you can see it's loose there and it's tight. Well,
yeah. And then what we have as well, that once I found like, okay, usually I think a sail needs 2-3 sessions to stretch.
Okay.
You know, like it's not stretching that much, but most of the stretch comes in the first 2-3 sessions. After those 2-3 sessions, and I go out and I find this perfect sweet spot, I actually have here a little opening where I can see the mast and the extension. Okay. And you see, I just put with permanent marker. There is actually a thing you can put inside, but I do it a little bit lazy with permanent marker. Okay. And without looking at the downhaul, I just look here and I make sure these stripes match.
So that's pretty cool, actually, isn't it?
It's, a lot of people don't use it, but it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's
well, it makes a lot of sense. You just mark it, put it to that.
Yeah, and then you know you have the same downhaul setting.
Like you say, make sure you've had a couple of sessions in the sail.
Yeah, the first 2-3 sessions, depending on how strong the wind is, you want the sail to stretch a little bit.
I want to talk about this. Tack strap.
It's a little bit brand depending, I think.
Do you use it much? Is it a big thing? I mean, some people don't use it at all.
I mean, I definitely use it. I mean, if you see now, you see the sail here doesn't have the curve anymore.
Well, that's what I was
going to
say. It's opening up.
So you definitely need the tack strap. But I just, when you see now it's tight.
Just take the tension out.
You see it's clean. Here, when you put it too tight, you see here this hollow part.
Yeah.
Most likely this hollow part will just be there on one side.
Okay.
You know, like you flip the sail and this becomes negative. You know, this is what you don't want, on our sails at least.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you're releasing it. Now you see there's no tension here. And you see here, it's kind of rounding out. All I do is I put the tack strap that the tension is there.
Okay.
You see, like the tension is there, the sail is not opening up here, but here you don't have that hole again. This is how I would use, in general, the tack strap.
No, it's interesting, because I know a lot of people, the speed guys especially, they want to get shape in the bottom of the sail.
The thing is,
they are like...
Yeah, but they also just care about one side.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say, but they're only going one way.
They're only going one way, so there you can do it because I guess you get more stability out of it because it becomes tighter here. But it can also give less acceleration and stuff, which you need after the jibe. That's why I think speed and slalom needs a different tuning.
Yeah. Okay.
Like for example, they don't care how a sail rotates.
No.
Like if I put these cambers super tight on the mast.
So with more
spaces, or with us, you have a little screw here. Okay. So you turn the screw to the left, and I have less tension, and I put it to the right, and I have more tension.
Okay,
so you don't have to de-rig the sail or whatever.
Okay,
you can just screw it.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's
so actually really cool.
It's so easy. But then when you go speed sailing, you could choose that you put them super tight because you get more stability in the sail, which you need because those speed guys are overpowered trying to get the top speeds. But then you have less acceleration and less rotation, which is what we need with slalom sailing.
Yeah.
But also a heavier guy makes the cameras rotate quicker than a lighter guy. So that's why we have these cameras, so you can very easily adjust them towards personal preferences.
Okay.
Because otherwise it's like de-rigging, put spaces in, rig again.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not
It's
enough.
a-
Okay, de-rig.
I'll be honest, that is what put me off going through that whole spacer thing, but I quite like that screw.
It's very
Batten
nice.
tension, are you just cranking them up?
Again, we are pretty lucky. It's all pre-tensioned from the factory.
Okay.
So what we do is, like, the moment we have the sail final, we have this
You
torque.
don't adjust them?
In basic, no. Like we have, like, yes, I sometimes do adjust them, but when you get our sails, like once the sail is done, the prototype is done, we have a tensioner which shows a value.
Okay.
And there's a bit calculated in how much it stretches in the first two sessions. But then once the prototype is completely done, we measure from all battens the tension. We give all the values included, so we add a little bit for the stretch. Okay. We give all those values to the factory. When the sail is done, they put them all on the values, and then that's it. And I have to say, for 80-90% it's right.
Okay. But you can adjust them after.
You can adjust them. Yeah.
Okay.
There is some Loctite, so the first to
okay.
make sure it doesn't come loose. So the first time you have to break the glue. Whatever, no, it's fine. But the basic theory, lowest 3 battens, let's say, crank up the tension.
Yeah.
They need a lot of tension.
Yeah.
The top 3 battens, they don't need tension.
Yeah.
And with the batten in the middle, so the fourth, counting from each side, but we usually count from the top. The fourth batten, you kind of want that smooth transition. Like, I think if you want to see from here, you see this nice line from the battens.
Okay.
You know, that's how you want it to be. And then if you hold it, if you have too much tension, it will most likely look like this.
Okay.
If you don't have enough tension, it will most likely look like this. So I look for this.
So that's quite
this
a
nice
key
line.
batten then.
Yeah, actually yes. And then if you want to go a little bit personal preferences, if you want to have more backhand, so if you feel that your sail is dead, let's say, and you're missing backhand power, you can apply pressure on the batten above the boom.
To keep the hold a bit more.
So you kind of create more power here. So the sail comes more around here, which is close to the backhand. So you have a little bit more power on your hand. Do you have that too much? You can release a little bit.
Okay, so that's interesting. Like, so you can do a lot with that batten.
Yes.
Because if it's holding a bit and you can't seem to get the speed, you'd lose a bit of tension.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Interesting.
And
Harness
then,
lines.
yeah,
Okay,
this is the boom is probably the part which I'm changing the most. The downhaul, I'm actually never changing, because I think if I tell you more downhaul, more release is better with strong winds.
Yeah.
Less downhaul, less release is better with low winds. But less downhaul gives more pressure from the sail on the board, so your board flies less.
Yeah.
You know?
Change, yeah.
And then more downhaul, less pressure on the board, the board starts to fly
So
more.
you've basically got one downhaul
Yes.
setting.
Yes.
I'm kind of the same. I have one
Downhaul setting,
yeah.
which works for you. It can be a bit different. If we're going to use this sail, it can be a little bit different for you than for me, but one
Don't
downhaul
change
setting.
it.
That's
I'm a bit
it.
like that with my wave sails.
Then the boom is where you can change everything.
Yeah.
I'm usually always using the upper clue, but what happens if you use the lower clue is that the whole sail in the midsection starts to open up more.
Yeah.
Gives a bit softer feeling, which for lighter riders can be beneficial. So if I see people using the lower clue, it's usually a bit lighter riders.
Yeah, me too.
I always use the upper one, especially in a race. I just need power.
You need,
I just
you need out the jibe, out the thing.
you know,
bit more juice.
and even when it's windy,
It's only a 3-minute race, isn't it?
yeah,
3.5
it's just 3
minute
minutes.
race. Yeah.
Sometimes I cannot go straight, and then the start line is, and it's like, oh, you know, and you just hold it for 3 minutes, and then afterwards you breathe again.
Yeah.
So I need this. It's for acceleration, for power, for drive upwind. Like I prefer this, but I can imagine if you just cruise around and you're lighter, the bottom one can be useful too. But again, try.
Yeah.
Just try. Just
Adjustable
go out.
outhaul, 100%.
100% cannot go without, because that's where I really play with the power of the sail. Do I have it loose? You know, it can be completely touching the boom. I really don't care so much, but the sail just gets a size bigger by feeling.
Yeah.
You know, and is the wind picking up? You know, like you put it tight, and suddenly it feels like you have a way smaller sail.
Yeah.
So for slalom racing, you need to have it.
Yeah, 100%.
I would even recommend the normal people as well, because if you're on a lake and you keep cruising back and forward and you really want to make some hours, and it's almost in no spot.
And also, I would say, like for people who don't have an adjustable outhaul, you can just tune your sail so you can understand your sail way more.
Way more,
because
yeah.
the chances of you doing it, I'm guilty of this. You put the outhaul on, you go sailing, oh, it's not so good. Whatever.
Well,
I'll be fine. Whereas when you've got it there, you're like,
Yes.
that's even better. And sometimes you think you've got a good setting, but you get an even better setting by letting a bit off or something like this.
Exactly.
And it's not like you need to change it all the time. This is more for, a lot of the time, is just trimming it to the conditions that are out there. It's not like you're moving it every reach and everything. You trim it, and then you're good. You know?
Yeah, 100%. Then we have two more things on the boom, which is the harness lines.
That's what I was going to ask you, because it's quite interesting right now. Harness lines, because of foiling, have got longer. And I'm seeing guys racing on the fin with some of the longest lines I have ever seen. It doesn't look like you've gone crazy on the fin.
To be honest,
Or is this the big stuff? Yeah,
this is the big stuff. I have to admit, the first reaches I did on the 8.4, I had like 34 inch. You know?
Okay, yeah.
You know, and then I was just like, okay, I'm getting used to it now. I'll go to 32. You know.
Yeah.
And then, okay, 30. You know, because I have on most booms, or actually now it got a bit longer in the small sizes, but on 8.4, 7.8, I'm using adjustable 28 to 34 inch. Which in the light winds on 8.4 is more towards 28-30, and 7.8 is more 30-32.
Bigger sizes, shorter
Shorter
lines.
lines,
What's
100%.
the theory there? Tell the guys at home.
Shorter lines creates more power.
Okay.
But it's also the way that with a big board, you stand higher.
Yeah.
So you're automatically closer to the harness line.
Yeah.
So if I use a long harness line on a big board,
Yeah.
the chance that I sheet out on the way is very big. While on the small board, you're closer to the boom, but way lower.
Yeah.
You know, so
You're
you're
sort of sitting in the power. Like.
Yes. So when I, for example, 6.8 is a sail that I use on small board and on medium board.
Okay.
And whenever I have to change between the boards, I change the length of my harness lines as well. Because medium board, I'm more standing up. The distance is bigger,
Yes.
so I'm more up, closer to the harness line.
Yeah.
And then the smaller one, you sit more down, so you need a bit longer. I think 28 to 34 for most of the people is the perfect size.
Yeah, I'd agree.
You know, that's really the most common. And some shorter ones, they use maybe 24 to 30. Some longer lads like me in strong winds are using 32 to 38.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah.
So 28, 34 for most of the people is
Yeah.
perfect. And I would really advise you to have adjustable ones, because when it's flat water, it's way easier. You can have shorter lines. Choppy waters, you need more control, you make them longer, because that's the theory.
Yeah.
More power, short, more control, long.
Yeah.
And with fixed ones, that's it.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense.
And then the boom height, which, if you put it down, presses the sail more on the board. When you put it up, it makes everything lift more. So sometimes in the extremes, I'm changing my boom height, but not so much.
No.
But you can, it's an option.
It's small movements, but it does make a difference.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Well,
I think
that's pretty much covered it. I hope you found something interesting there. Let us know in the comments below. There's more people around here. We've got wind coming up. I don't know when this video is going to be out, but hopefully it's out before the wind. So I'll try and do that now. Jordy Vonk, good luck on retaining your world title. Let's see.